I think it's actually a very broad topic, and ICTs have a great role to play in enabling economic development in rural areas. But the way they can be applied, as we've learned in the past 2 days, is quite varied, and it depends on the individual's focus or what area of impact we're looking to have. But one thing I think that's important that's come out of this conference and some of the work that we do at FAO is about not only doing good practices in our field work and using ICTs, but in learning from others' experiences and in sharing those experiences in such a way that we can capitalize on what was done and we can do better next time. As somebody from BMZ said earlier, it's not good enough just to do a good job in your program, but to also tell us how we can do better in the next one. I think that the role development cooperation has in ICT4D varies depending on what the intended impact is, but also the circumstances under which we're working. So certain countries, certain communities in the same country even have different needs. And development cooperation is mainly an enabling factor to allow things to happen that might not otherwise, whether it has to do with providing funding or political issues, whether it's policy advice, or another important role is bringing partners together. These are very complex solutions. Development is not a simple thing. ICT is not just about being a technical expert in knowing about the latest technology, but we need people who understand the socioeconomic impact, the impact on networks and communities, and all of this takes a variety of people, and as development cooperation can help recognize the experts and bring them to the point where they're needed. I think it's important that we all think of these meetings. This was a 2-day event, and it's a very nice chance to network, to exchange some ideas, but to build some new contacts. But it's important also that when we leave and we go back to our respective workplaces, that it doesn't stop, in the sense that the exchanges continue, that we continue to communicate with each other and work together to build on these creative strengths that we've identified here. I think that in even a much shorter time frame than 20 years, the reality is ICTs are present in almost all development programs, whether we actually choose to identify them or not, whether we highlight them or not. So it's important, as Mr. Mangstel said from FAO, that we recognize the fact that the ICTs are there, they are being used. They need to be thought of from the beginning so that they're not just an afterthought, that they're not a side effect. They have a very important special role, both in development itself, but also in enhancing and scaling up the impact we have. Not scaling up projects, but actually scaling impact. And only through correctly recognizing these things and dealing with them will we get to the point we need to be in terms of development overall. I think there are a lot of very passionate people, which always inspires me at these meetings. It's one of the reasons for coming, is to meet people who have similar interests but also are very impassioned about what they do. It gives you the motivation to keep working on your own area. Is it going the way it should go? I would like to think so, yes. You need to think positively about these things. There are always odd turns and changes along the way, but we learn as we go, and if we keep learning, and as there was some discussion in my working group yesterday about recognizing failure as well as just successes and building past that, then I think we're headed the right way.